full-fledged, non-interest bank.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening and welcome to our all-new program, your all-new program, the Ummah Tonight, only and exclusively on Huda TV. And at this point, I should thank Jaiz Bank, the first non-interest, purely Islamic bank in Nigeria, based in Abuja, for sponsoring this program. We certainly appreciate their support. And if you're in Nigeria, please visit them at their Abuja office and visit them to open an account, inshallah. This is the second episode of our new program, Ummah Tonight. So if I can take a moment to really explain what this program is about. This program is not your typical news program. This program is about social and community news that is affecting the entire Muslim world, pressing issues, controversial issues, interesting and intriguing events around the Muslim world, and perhaps even the non-Muslim world when it is relevant. We have a wonderful news program, iMagazine, with our respected host, Mr. Muhammad Abdul Rahim. This program is not like that program. This program, will talk about community news. And in order for it to be successful, we need your support. We would like you guys, wherever you're based, in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Cairo or Riyadh, Singapore, Malaysia, anywhere around the world, send us your iReports and report to us what is going on in your community. Perhaps a new Islamic center was opened, or there is a local issue in the news media that deserves international attention. That's what this program is all about. And we're very pleased. We certainly hope it is beneficial for all Muslims around the entire world. Of course, many news stories and community stories we will investigate will take place, of course, in the Arab Middle East, as this is the heart of the Islamic world. But we will not limit our investigations and focus to the Middle East. Rather, we will explore and delve into issues around the entire world, including Nigeria, West Africa in general, Cameroon, South Africa, Europe, Russia, Central Asia, South Asia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, the Far East, Southeast Asia, Malaysia, and Indonesia, as well as the Americas, North and South, and Australia as well. We want to really be inclusive and bring interesting stories that can bring some good spirits to the Muslim Ummah all around the world. Last episode, we did touch on some grim issues because they are important for us to speak about, and that's why we did that. In this program, inshallah, in this episode we will be speaking about a variety of interesting news stories, including, of course, Palestine. There's some news in Palestine. There's also some stories in the United States as well. We would like to briefly follow up with Syria. And the main topic, which we will have a very special guest via Skype in the second segment, is an interesting story in Malaysia, all the way down in Southeast Asia, a very populous Muslim country, neighboring Indonesia, a very populous Muslim country. A very interesting story. You probably have heard about it. It's the use of the word Allah in the Bible, and that has sparked some controversy, so we're looking forward to speaking about that and getting various perspectives about what is all the uproar about. Why would it be a controversy to use the word Allah in the Bible? We certainly look forward to some interesting reports and some interesting comments from our special guest in the second segment, so definitely stay tuned for that. In this segment, I would just like to briefly touch on some stories across the Muslim world. As I mentioned, we did see recently this week that the Palestinian National Liberation Movement, Fatah, actually celebrated its 48th anniversary in Gaza, and this perhaps is a sign of a warming of relations between the two Palestinian factions. We're very pleased about that, and we ask Allah to grant them success and victory, not only in establishing a homeland and liberating Jerusalem, but rather reaching a point of international respect and dignity, and we certainly hope for them the best in this regard. Of course, as you may well know already, as was reported in the AP, that the event took place in El Saraya Square, which was where, if you recall, several years ago, the Israeli Air Force bombed and destroyed their biggest security headquarters. Now, several years later, by the grace of Allah, they are celebrating there. The reunification perhaps of these two movements, inshallah. That is Palestine, a nation dear to our hearts as Muslims from all around the world. So we definitely want to be pleased with that. We have prepared a small report, so please stay tuned to that. and we'll be right back.
Hundreds of thousands of Fatah supporters packed into Gaza's Al-Saraya Square on Friday morning to celebrate the 48th anniversary of their faction's founding. It was the first time in 5 years that Fatah has been allowed to celebrate the date in Gaza, which is governed by Hamas. Waving yellow flags and chanting slogans, supporters of all ages from across the length of the Gaza Strip packed the city's streets since Thursday night, with many camping out, fearful of losing their spaces. In a televised speech from Ramallah, Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas greeted them and praised the steadfastness of the people living in Gaza. He said that Palestinians will achieve unity and end the occupation to finally raise the Palestinian flag in Jerusalem. Abbas added that Gaza was the first Palestinian territory to get rid of the occupation and settlements, and that Palestinians want the blockade to be lifted so that Gaza can be free and can be linked to the rest of the nation. A number of Fatah activists and officials traveled from the West Bank to Gaza for the rally. Observers say that the event is being seen as a key step forward for national Palestinian reconciliation between Hamas and Fatah. The two fronts have been getting closer since the suspension of talks between Israel and the Palestinian Authority, following the most recent Israeli assault on Gaza.
Well, we certainly hope so. We certainly hope that the reunification of Palestine and the liberation of Jerusalem and Palestine is in the near future. We're very pleased to have a video of some good and positive news coming out of Palestine because of the dire situation there. So may Allah help them in achieving their goals, and may the Muslim world continue to pray for them and support them, inshallah. Another interesting piece of news took place recently in the United States, and this truly was a tragedy. Perhaps I'm sure you have seen reported in the AP press, new town, in a small town in the east coast of the United States of America, there was a tragedy at a school when over 21 children were killed by a gunman using assault weapons, and it was a very, very sad thing. We saw the President of the United States of America, Barack Obama, in tears. We saw, as a result of this, which is always the case, every so often, perhaps almost even annually, we can say, there's this sort of tragedy in the United States. I believe the first one that comes to mind was Columbine. And every so often in in an American city, this type of tragedy occurs. And it's something very sad that touches the hearts of all people. And of course, this didn't happen in the Muslim world, but we're all humans and we really sympathize with the victims of that tragedy. Of course, the dialogue after one of these events is inevitably linked to gun control. Many people would like to see a ban on assault weapons and stricter regulations regarding gun control in the United States. Of course, this is a hotly debated topic. Allah knows best what the answer will be, but we certainly hope that those children, we wish the best for their families, the victims' families. And of course, this was something that hit the Muslim world as well very hard. It's a bit sad when we see Muslims reported often as terrorists, when we see these things happening in the United States itself. So, subhanAllah, you would think that perhaps this could be a wake-up call to investigate and put their own society under the microscope before they accuse Muslims of these things. We'd also like to note here, I remember some years ago, Madeleine Albright said on 60 Minutes, she was asked whether the death of 500,000 Iraqi children was quote-unquote worth it, and she said yes. And I really hope there comes a day in time when the Muslim life is valuable and people shed tears over the death of Muslim children as well. Having said that, let's take a look at this report. We'll be right back. Assalamu alaikum.
Arms are an important part of American lives. They are sold to individuals routinely and easily. The U.S. Constitution grants American citizens the right to own weapons, so it isn't a surprise to find guns with different shapes for sale along with children's toys in the same shop that sells food and other supplies, such as Walmart, which is located in all 50 U.S. states and specializes in retail. These days, the controversy is tough concerning the possession of weapons, which has been raised by the massacre that took place in a primary school in Connecticut. It claimed the lives of 26 people, including 20 children. An armed person got into the school and shot some students and teachers randomly. This disaster made President Barack Obama promise to develop practical measures to prevent the recurrence of such crimes. And he said that he supports a draft law that aims to regulate the possession of offensive weapons by individuals. However, there is a team strongly opposed to putting any legislation that would prevent the right to possess weapons. They are leaders in the Republican Party who own companies that manufacture weapons. In addition, known lobby groups led by the National Rifle Association demand weapons for self-defense. This group has a real impact on American legislators in Congress. According to data published by the United Nations, Americans live at risk of being killed by weapons more than residents of any other country, where the average number of victims from 2007 to 2009 in the U.S. was more than 10,000 deaths every single year.
Interesting report, to say the least. We all know this is a quote-unquote constitutional issue in the United States, where the right to bear arms is something that's very ingrained in their constitution. However, whenever something like this happens, you would think there would be some sort of reformation perhaps taking place, but rather there is two groups. One group advocating higher gun control, increased gun control, rather stricter application of gun control laws. Another group opposing that. Well, we certainly hope that the best for them and that everything is resolved so that these tragedies don't continue to occur, because like I said, we continue to see them year in and year out. And something that's interesting, we don't see these crimes committed, these type of tragedies in the Muslim world. Rather, we do see them occurring in the United States and Europe quite frequently. So may Allah help all of us and protect us and keep our children safe. Another interesting point regarding that story, which I can't really emphasize this enough. Throughout this whole crime, we never heard one key word that we often hear regarding with Islam and Muslims, and that is terrorism. We did not hear the word terrorism involved in this crime at all. And what people maybe do not know about this particular event is that the man that killed those 21 children, including teachers, killed his mother in her home, took her assault rifle, killed her, went to the school and made that and committed that crime. If that's not terrorism, then what is? It reminds me of the case in Norway, or in Northern Europe rather, when a man killed, I believe, over 70 people in the name of some strange ideology. And it was initially, before the suspect was known to be a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant man, it was they reported it on CNN as terrorism. When it came back that he was a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant man, they took this back. They said there was a violent crime committed. So this double standard, we hope, certainly changes. And it's a shame that the societies where these crimes take place do not reflect on that, subhanAllah. So having said that, we want to move on to the next piece. I believe that's a tragedy, and we hope that doesn't happen again. We do have another interesting story, which we'll talk more about in the second half of the program, which is the use of the word Allah in Malaysian Bibles. Interesting. But before we get to that, we did want to touch up on a little bit about Syria. I know we talked about it yesterday, but I do believe it's a very important point in the heart of the Islamic world. The UN did give a new grim account of the death toll in Syria, which exceeds over 60,000. May Allah help them end this 22-month civil war, bring peace to that country and security and a bright future. We really hope for this. Shame on everybody for continuing to watch it unfold. As rebels continue to advance, the regime becomes more and more violent. May Allah help them. You guys take a look at this report and stay tuned to your new program, Ummah Tonight.
"2012 was a bloody year in Syria. Al-Assad regime insisted on bloodshed in all cities and districts. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights Watch said that nearly 90% of those who have died in Syria's 21-month conflict were killed in 2012. More than 45,000 people have been killed since the conflict broke out in March 2001, but close to 40,000 of those perished during the past 12 months, the majority civilians. At the same time, Al-Assad troops suffered from heavy losses, with more than 9,000 people killed, where over 1,000 military personnel were also killed in action. Another 727 people in the year 2012 were dead and unidentified. The United Nations peace envoy to Syria, Lakhdar Ibrahimi, has warned that as many as 100,000 people could die in the next year if there is no solution to be found quickly to end the country's turmoil. Ibrahimi also said that Syria would not be divided into states like what happened in Yugoslavia.
May Allah help them, and we certainly hope that there's an end to this conflict soon and to bring peace and security to this beautiful country, Syria. Ameen. Having said that, I want to move to the UK. I recently received a report from our UK-based correspondent, Rafi Abdul Malik, the former host of Tech Talk, that the Muslim community there is building a new school in Stokes-upon-Trent, a small town north of Birmingham, which is interesting because there's a growing Muslim community there, and they are integrated and accepted, widely accepted by the local population there, which is really bright news. And in other news, we came to find that Muslims in Staffordshire are optimistic as well about their application to purchase land and build a first Islamic school in the West Midlands region of England. We hear all the time, and mashallah, there's a great, thriving Islamic community in Birmingham and London, but this is the first school of its kind in the West Midlands region. We certainly hope for success for them. It will be called, inshallah, Iqra Academy. We're certainly pleased with that. There will be almost 500 people, perhaps, students rather, ages from 11 to 16 that will attend the school. And this school, of course, will meet government requirements rather, and follow the national curriculum, as well as offering the Islamic sciences. So perhaps this school in the West Midlands city of Staffordshire, or county rather, will be a model for all schools, even here in the Muslim world. We're very pleased about that. We wish them success. This site is expected to attract 600 pupils rather, and from all over the region. It shows the growth of Islam in England as well as Europe in general, and how Islam has truly become a quote-unquote European religion. Quite often we hear native Europeans and Americans complain about Islam as being something foreign, coming from immigrant nations from various countries around the world, as if that's something bad. But rather we do see that Islam is a growing force within the local population of those people. It has a place in English history, and we're very pleased to see the growth of Islam and English reverts to Islam, like Rafi himself, our UK-based correspondent. And we look forward to seeing a report soon in the near future after the school is established with the will of Allah in Stokes-upon-Trent, as well as Staffordshire in the West Midlands region of the UK. You've seen many, many reports as well on our program recently, hosted by Dr. Steph Kearis, about Islam in Europe. And we're certainly pleased with that, and we look forward to seeing him on another program soon. Having said that, you guys, in the next segment, I want to get into the main topic of this episode, which is a very, very exciting episode. Really, I mean it when I say it. It's about the use of Allah in the Bible. What would be the big deal? I mean, we all know there's millions of Arabic-speaking Christians right here in the heart of the Middle East that freely and without controversy use the word Allah in their Arabic Bibles, and they say words like Alhamdulillah, thank Allah, Shukrillah, thank Allah. What's the big deal? Well, if you want to find out, you have to stay tuned to the Ummah tonight. Assalamu alaikum.
In a game of golf, both the caddy and the golfer have the same goal: to get the ball into the hole. Interest-free banking is similar. With a clear view of the fairway, a predefined agreement without shifting targets, things should end up where you want them. Your deposits are safe, and your funds are ethically managed with a transparent and equitable approach to sharing risk and reward. No interest burden means more time to relax without the worry of nasty surprises. Rest assured, Our interest is mutual. Jaiz Bank, Nigeria's first full-fledged non-interest bank.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to our all-new program, the Ummah Tonight. First of all, I'd like to thank Jaiz Bank one more time for sponsoring our program. We certainly wish them success. And for our viewers in Nigeria, if you're based in Abuja, please visit Jaiz Bank and open up an account with them, inshallah, at their Abuja location. Having said that, you guys, like I said, this is really your program. It can't succeed without your contributions. So please give me a phone call at 00202 3855 248 or 9. I want you guys to be our I correspondents wherever you may be and give us the latest news in your community, whether you're in Malaysia, Africa, or the United States. That's 00202 3855 248 or 9. Don't forget, of course, our email as well, which should appear on your screen. I will respond to you personally, inshallah. Also, our main mechanism, you guys, is Facebook. You have to like and share the pages with your Muslim and non-Muslim friends. Put your comments, thoughts, opinions, and feedback on there. Your contributions are needed for the success of the Ummah Tonight, your program, and your channel, Huda TV. So that's www.facebook.com/huda.tv or just Huda TV, and support, like, and share all of the Facebook pages, the personal program pages as well. Having said that, we have a special guest, but before I bring him on the show, I just want to introduce the topic a little bit. There has been a tug-of-war, as you know, recently in Malaysia over the use of the word Allah. This doesn't seem like anything interesting, but it is. Why should there be a tug-of-war from Muslims, between Muslims and Christians over the word Allah? We know in the Middle East there are millions of Arabic-speaking Christians who have the Bible written in Arabic, and they use the word Allah without controversy. The word other words like Alhamdulillah, Shukrillah, thank Allah, praise Allah, in the reverse rather. What's the big deal? This shouldn't be news at all. This has been going on for thousands of years. Of course, every region is unique, and Malaysia isn't the Arab world. It's not the Middle East, so there are different dynamics that we should take into account. For those of you who may not know, Malaysia is located in Southeast Asia. It is culturally, ethnically, religiously, linguistically related, highly related to Indonesia, the most populous Muslim country on the face of this earth, if I'm not mistaken. Malaysia is an archipelago nation which sits on the peninsula of Southeast Asia, as well as has many islands, a predominantly Muslim majority country. Having said that, there must be something more to the story that we don't understand. So we brought you an expert to explain it. Of course, I'm talking about Dr. Malik Hosni from the International Islamic University of Malaysia. I hope he can give us some background insight to what is going on there in this regard. Assalamu alaikum, doctor. Thank you so much for joining us. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Malik. How are you, doctor? Assalamu alaikum, doctor. Can you hear me? Perhaps we can just wait 1 minute while we get the doctor on the line. I'm really looking forward to the doctor to give us some background, because it doesn't seem like there should be a controversy in this regard. Perhaps we need to clarify who has introduced this controversy, what the response has been from the Muslim world, and most importantly, what is the intention? What is the purpose of Christian groups using the Arabic word for God, Allah, in their Bible? That's what we want to find out. Of course, one more time, let's give it a try. Dr. Malik Hosni from the International Islamic University of Malaysia. Assalamu alaikum, doctor.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much for joining us on our program, The Ummah Tonight. I certainly appreciate your time, doctor.
You are welcome, brother. Actually, the voice is not so clear, but I will try to hear you well in order to respond according to your question. Please, you can start your question.
Okay, doctor. Thank you so much, doctor. My first question, I guess, would be, can you give us some background as to what exactly this controversy is about?
Okay. Actually, let us give a very brief idea about the society in Malaysia, because this background can explain this issue very clearly. Malaysian society is composed of three components or three main races. The first one is the Malay, who are the dominant race. The Malays are 55% of the society.
Okay.
And the others are the Chinese, who comprise about 30% of the society. And after that is the Indian race, which represent about 15% or something like that.
Okay, great.
So the constitution of Malaysia speaks that the word of Malay, is equivalent to Islam. So I think the problem of this issue come from here, because you can say here Malay is a Muslim and the Muslim is Malay. So this is why the controversial idea here comes from this definition of the Malay, and I think this is the root of the problem, if we can consider there is a problem here. So this background of the society can give us why this controversial issue occurs. Because when you speak about the Malay and the Malay language, actually, Malay language has about 10% or more of the Arabic words, okay? So these Arabic words were the loan words that were derived from Arabic origin,
Sure.
and were being used in the Malay language after Islam entered this area.
Doctor,
So this is
Doctor,
the word. Yes, brother.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Doctor. I guess what I would like to ask you, Doctor, I understand, thank you for that background. It was very clear the way you illustrated that. What would be first of all, perhaps I should ask you, who initiated this controversy? In other words, who began to publish the Bible with using the word Allah? When did this emerge?
Yes, as I said to you, this is not the first time this problem emerged. I think 3 years ago also I have noticed this problem also was raised by some people in the society. But actually, why it is a controversial? Because some ulama, as they are the scholars who are known here as ulama, some of them support the idea of using the word Allah in the Christian Bible, but some others are against. Why? Actually, because they feel that the concept of God in Islam is totally different from the concept of God in Christianity, and this is the truth.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you, yes.
Refers to the God that the Muslims worship.
Of course.
But Christianity, according to those scholars, worship Jesus or whatever they can say. They have the concept of Trinity,
Sure.
3 in 1.
Sure,
So
Dr.
there
Ala,
is
thank you, Dr. Ala. I'm sorry if I could keep you on the line just briefly. Thank you for your comments. Just stay with me, brother, Doctor, on Skype while I take a phone call from Sister Noor, who is actually a Malaysian student based here in the Middle East. Assalamu alaikum, sister. Thank you for joining us.
Walaikum salam warahmatullah. Thank you very much. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. As a Malaysian, I would like to ask your opinion. What is this a good idea? Do you think it's a prudent thing for Christians in Malaysia to begin to use the word Allah in their Bible?
Okay. The main point, firstly, actually this issue started for a long time ago.
Okay.
And this issue continues from year to year, and it has started recently when a Christian leader from the opposition political party in Malaysia made a claim to allow Christians to use the word Allah in the Malaysian language version of the Bible, and this refers to the practice of their religion. And in my opinion, in the first point, it's really a cheap provocation aimed at political profit. And in this time of nearly a national election, racial and religious sensitivity should not be tempered solely only for voters.
I couldn't agree with you more. What is the purpose of them doing that? I suppose what you're saying is it's a political thing. But
yes, at one point it's aimed at political profit. But I think the main point is really a sensitive issue and serious issue because it has challenging the fatwa, which is legal ruling by Muslim jurists, and indirectly challenging the federal constitution.
Right.
Which is in federal constitution, it stated that Islam is the official religion in Malaysia.
Do you think
so, it's a very serious issue.
Sister, do you think this is a threat to an intentional and direct threat and confrontation to the Islamic identity of Malaysia?
I think I remember the verse in Quran. Auzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim. Walan tarda ankal yahud walan nasara hatta tattabi'a millatahum. And never will the Jews or Christians approve of you until you follow their religion. So I think this struggle of using the words of Allah is project from Christianity, and it's really dangerous for Muslims because in Malaysia, we Muslims need to be firm in maintaining the sanctity and religious identity, as being too open to allow the right thing to be abused by other religions.
Sure.
And we must know that the ultimate goal of the Christian use of the word of Allah is only to make confusion to the Muslims.
Yeah, I couldn't agree, Sister Noor, I'm sorry to interrupt you, I couldn't agree with you more. I believe it's a missionary technique to make confusion and to challenge the Islamic identity of Malaysia. Having said that, if you can stay on the line with me, Sister Noor, I would like to go back to Dr. Alat, our professor at the International Islamic University in Malaysia. Doctor, if you're with me, the question I would like to pose with you, and thank you for waiting on the line, is what is the purpose and intention of Christian groups who would like to use the word Allah in their Bible? Is this a healthy and good intention?
Actually, I agree with the sister now who spoke about some political root of the problem, because sometimes the political parties also are indulging themselves in this issue and complicate the situation. Otherwise, if the matter is only, let us to say, a scientific matter, so I think it will not be so complicated like that. But because it has some political implications, so it became somehow complicated like that. So I think some people are trying to use the word, not for a purpose of making trouble or making confusion, but this is some people, the people who are against using the word Allah by the Christians here, claim those people have some certain hidden agenda in their struggle of using the word Allah in their Bible. But for me, I don't see any problem in using it actually, because in Egypt we don't have any problem. We see our fellow Egyptian Copts are using it so long ago, and there isn't any problem in using it. Dr. As I told you in the beginning, there is a problem of, there is a political root of the problem, and also there is racism here, which is not the situation in Egypt, for example. This is why the problem erupted actually. So some people say some confusion will happen if, for example, you go to the Muslims. Let me tell you the story. They say if we allow the word Allah to be used by Christians, so the matter will be like that. When you go to Muslims, so they will say we are worshipping the same God. So what's the difference? So it will be easily, it will be a way to bring the Muslims to Christianity by a kind of cheating them.
Dr. Alai, if I can interrupt you, I apologize, Doctor. I would like to draw a comparison. When you said the Egyptian Copts use the words Allah, and they do that freely without controversy for thousands of years, and I agree with you. And their Bible is written in Arabic, and they say words like Alhamdulillah, Shukrillah, Allah, these words. However, I believe, Doctor, there is a big difference between them, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the language of the Egyptian Copts is Arabic, whereas the language of the Malaysians is not Arabic. So why would a Malaysian Christian use the word Allah, which is a foreign language? It's a word from a foreign language to him or her. So why would they choose to do that? Isn't it instigating a problem in a tolerant country?
Yeah, actually, this is, as I said before, if, for example, they are using it, maybe it has advantages and disadvantages in the same time. Maybe, as in one hand, we can see advantage when you speak about the word Allah. As a Muslim, I believe that the name, the real name of the God, the real name of the creator of the world is Allah. Even when we discuss it from a religious aspect, we believe that as Muslims, either the name used in Judaism and the name is used by Christianity is not the real name of God. But we as Muslims, alhamdulillah, Allah has given us his real name. So if we allow his name to be used here or there, so in one hand, you are allowing people to use the name of Allah. This is the concept and the defense of the people who are defending the right of the Christians to use the word Allah. But on the other hand, the people who said, no, we shouldn't give him the right to use the word Allah, they are afraid of the confusion that I referred to before when I said, when you go to non-Muslims, number one, and the very plain Muslims themselves, there is a trouble for them, there is a danger for them to misguide them, to say there is no difference between Islam and the Christianity, as we have the same word we are using here and there. So either you became a Muslim or became a Christian, no difference.
Thank you, Dr. Alam. I'm sorry, Dr. Alam, to interrupt you. If I can just get a moment to thank you for your insight. If you could just stay with me briefly on the line. I would like to bring in Sister Sakina from Malaysia. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for waiting, Sister. How are you?
Fine, alhamdulillah.
Thank you for joining us on our program, The Ummah, tonight. Sister, I can't understand, perhaps you can shed some light, as Dr. Alat was doing also, why would a Christian group in Malaysia want to use Allah in their Bible? Is this related to missionary activity?
Yes, for me, actually this is a process, this is a process of Christianization done by the Christian in order to weaken the Aqidah of Muslim in Malaysia. And the mission is not only to weaken the Aqidah of Muslim, but they also want the Muslim in Malaysia to get converted into their religion. And for me, as we see in all over the world right now, this condition, I mean, their mission is not only in Malaysia, but they want all the Muslims in the world actually to get into their religion. For example, as I see in Palestine, they use the bomb or the gunshot. But in Malaysia, they use this kind of mind attack for the Muslims to get converted into Christian.
Excellent.
And,
go ahead, sister. Go ahead. Complete. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And for your information, this is not the first time. This is not the first attack from them. Actually, they have used so many issues to attack us in Malaysia, to attack Muslims in Malaysia.
But sister, I thought there was a good relationship between Muslims and Christians in Malaysia. I thought it was a very tolerant country and that the people there live side by side in harmony.
Yeah, but there's something that they cannot over the limit.
Right.
Because there's mission behind that. Because as Allah has said in Quran, they will not approve a Muslim unless Muslims get convert into their religion. لن ترضى عنك اليهود ولا النصارى حتى تتبع ملتهم. So they want all Muslims.
Thank you, sister. Yes, Sister Sakina, thank you so much. If you could stay on the line, I would like to ask Sister Noor the same question. Sister, I mean, do you believe that this is directly related to missionary work? And if so, why did the Supreme Court of Kuala Lumpur allow it? Why did they allow them to do it? Sister Noor, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Oh, thank you. Sister Noor, do you believe this is directly related to missionary work? And if so, why would the Supreme Court and government of Malaysia allow this if it's creating it's something creating a division amongst the Malaysian people?
Oh, because at the main point, I want to simply to let anyone know that when we simply let anyone use the word of Allah, if we show that Islam celebrates other religions, it only will cause greater harm to Islam and Muslims. When Christians may say that this is the principle of freedom, justice, democracy, and integrity. But in the end, actually, it turns out to be ongoing to cultivate the values of liberalism and secularism. And in a country that recognizes the position of Islam as the official religion, we don't want this happens in Malaysia. And I think it's really a project of cultivating the values of liberalism and secularism.
I couldn't agree with you more, Sister Noor. If you could stay on the line. I would like to go back to Dr. Ala. And Doctor, thank you for holding. I certainly appreciate your presence on this program, the Ummah Tonight. Doctor, do you think the use of the word Allah in the Christian Bible has created a division amongst Malaysian people and has harmed in the long-term relationship, the relationship between Muslims and Christians in a multi-ethnic and multi-religious country, which was here before this was virtually a very tolerant place?
Actually, after all this dispute that happened, I feel it can do, because we brought the issue from the field of the scholars themselves to decide what's to be done to the field of the ordinary man. So once you bring the issue to make it very generalized like that, and to be the issue of every simple man and very plain man, I think it becomes very difficult if you have, for example, if you allow the people to do it, if even Islam is not against, not easy for the government to allow. Although, for example, the thing which is very strange and maybe ridiculous here, the main Islamic party here is not against using the word Allah, by the way.
Interesting.
Because the political party which is in the opposition is not against.
Oh.
So this is why now the government is against, because the government feels that if they allow, it may cause some harm, it may cause some troubles, it may cause some dispute. This is why I feel that this situation is a wise way politically. But if we speak about scientific idea of the matter or a scholar way of the matter, so there should be another idea, or there should be another opinion. So we have to put two points in hand.
Okay.
What's the religious
perspective?
Fatwa, for example, what's the religious situation to be taken, and what is the political decision in this matter. So in my opinion, the political decision that was taken by the government is very wise in my idea, because the matter became very widespread among the society. So if you take something that become a kind of compromise between other groups, I think it will be harmful for the harmony of the society. So I think it is better not to allow, not because a religious fatwa, but I think for a political.
Sure.
A political.
Thank you, Dr. Ala. I have two questions for you, Doctor. The first question is, what is the word in the Malay language for God, for the word God? And why don't they use that word in place of the word Allah? Number one, Doctor. And number two is, we haven't clarified the intention. This has created a controversy in Malaysia, so isn't it important that we understand the purpose? What is the purpose of Christian groups using the word Allah? And what is the word for God in the Malay language? And why wouldn't they use that word, Doctor?
Yeah, actually you can see, for example, even the word Allah in the Bible itself, either in the Old Testament or the New Testament, you can see we have the word Elohim or the word Yahweh. Actually, there is no word of Allah either in the Old Testament or the New Testament. So this is why when they came to translate into Arabic, for example, they choose to use either the word Ar-Rab in order to be far from using the word Allah, and in some places they are using even the word as-sayyid. This
Yeah,
is in the
yeah.
Arabic world, and also even in the Christian world you see the word the Lord, which
Right,
is
of course.
used
Sure.
to refer to God. Most probably, such words can be used also as a
Yes, yeah.
solution.
Dr.
Here in
Alat.
Malaysia, for example, they use the word Tuhan.
Yeah, I got it.
Tuhan is also refers to God.
Yes, of
So
course, Dr. Alat. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Doctor, but unfortunately the program is out of time. I look forward to having you again. Perhaps we can revisit this topic, Dr. Alat Hosni, the assistant professor at the International Islamic University of Malaysia, with some excellent comments and insights. Thank you, Doctor. Before we close the program, I want to go quickly to Sister Noor and Sakina, and I want to start with Sister Noor first. Sister Noor, what is the word God in the Malay language, and why don't Malaysian Christians use that word instead in order to create harmony and to avoid problems in their country? Go ahead, Sister.
Okay. When we use the word Allah in the Christian community, and they use the word Allah in Bible or any publications, the main point, lafzul jalalah, which means holy word of Allah, is really specific for the Muslim.
Right,
And
right.
it is differently interpreted between Islam and Christian. So word of Allah used by Christians is polytheism.
Yes.
While for Muslim, it is monotheism, which we name it as Tawheed.
Yes, Sister.
Christians were allowed to use Allah, Muslims would be confused.
Yes,
Confusion would worsen because Christians recognize a trinity of God.
yes.
While Islam is totally monotheistic.
Thank you, Sister Nora. I couldn't agree with you more. That's a wonderful way to end it. Before I do end the program, Sister Sakina, really quickly, Sister, if you can tell me in 10 seconds, what is the way forward? What is the solution? Do you think that Christians should use the word Allah to describe God in Malaysia?
Again?
Sister Sakina, are you there?
Yeah?
Do you think that the Christians in Malaysia should be using the word Allah to describe their God? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, I agree with you, Sister. I believe. Thank you for your time, Sisters Noor and Sakina. They are students at Al Azhar University. Thank you, Dr. Alat, one more time. You guys, I believe that this was an interesting case, the use of the word Allah in Malaysia. Here, before this story emerged, we understood Malaysia to be a very tolerant and model society. We certainly hope it continues and that they resolve this issue and come to a solution that is pleasing to all people. I certainly appreciate your time here on the Ummah Tonight. You guys stay tuned for the Ummah Tonight twice a week, Saturdays and Mondays, 10:30 Mecca time. So until then, I leave you in the care of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.